Today I'll be speaking about someone I've mentioned in the past. He was a dear friend of mine named Sal Taddeo. Sal's nickname in the street was Sally Peck, although in prison, our friend Petey Lynx re-nicknamed him Buzz. Sal was a longtime Colombo associate who was with the Joey Scopo crew in Ozone Park. Their club was about 2 blocks away from the Bergen Hunt Fish Club on 101st Avenue. The crew of young guys could always be seen on lounge chairs, taking the sun outside the club, just like Joey Scopo and his crew did years ago. In May 24th, 1981, a black teen named Michael Phillips and a friend were riding bikes through Ozone Park and ran into a group of Italians. Sal, Charlie Fish Maselli, and his brother Joseph, Daniel Bazile, and others. After words were exchanged, Phillips was killed. I believe he was stabbed, but while researching, I found something that said he was shot, which I don't think is accurate. In any event, Joseph Maselli would be convicted for that crime in 1984. Bazile testified at a federal grand jury regarding the murder, but he would be killed a short time later. James E. Cardinale, who testified at the racketeering trial of John Gotti and his 6 co-defendants, gave testimony regarding the Bazile murder. During the late 1990s, Sal and I were in Fishkill Correction Facility together. He was also doing time for a manslaughter conviction. Sal was what they refer to as a blackout drunk, someone who doesn't recall their earlier actions when they sober up. One night he'd been drinking in a Queens bar with a childhood friend when they got into words, and Sal pulled out a gun and shot him in the head, killing him. According to Sal, when he pulled the gun out, the victim told him that he didn't have the balls to use it, so Sal shot him. He expressed to me how bad he felt for his actions that night and never meant to kill his friend. Sal also explained that after Joey Scopo was killed in 1993, the crew split up. There had been bad blood over money with Joey Scopo's brother Ralphie. In fact, things became so bad that Joey Scopo Jr. was transferred to the Gambinos, who eventually straightened him out. At one point, Colombo member Joey Savarese came through Fishkill, and Sal and him had words over Savarese making a negative comment about Scopo's murder. Sal would speak his mind, no matter who he was speaking to. Another example of this is when he got into an argument with Lucchese member Thomas D'Ambrosio. We all lived together on the same unit and ate together as well, but they got into words in the bathroom one day. I remember Thomas coming to me and being so upset at how Sal spoke to him. Sal and I were released from prison around the same time. One morning, about 5 a.m., I was waiting at a bus stop in Staten Island to catch the express bus into Manhattan, and I see a guy walking towards me with a cigarette. It was still dark out, but as he got closer, we started laughing because we recognized each other. It's funny, we were both from Ozone Park, did time together, and now living in Staten Island, a few blocks from one another. Sal and I were renting apartments, and on occasion, we'd meet and crack a bottle of wine open. And I would tease him by telling him, I'm going to need a bulletproof hat if I'm going to sit down and drink with you. There came a night that Sal got in touch with me and sounded like something was wrong and said he needed to see me. Like me, Sal was divorced with kids. So I went to meet him at his apartment, and he explained that he wanted to stab his ex-wife's new boyfriend, and he wanted me to come with him. I tried calming him down and speaking sense to him. I told him, under any other circumstances, I would go with him, but this was a bad idea. Not only would we get pinched, but it would be outside the house where his kids lived. And after a few glasses of wine and some joking around, Sal finally calmed down. He eventually broke away from the Colombos, and through his cousin, became associated to the Gambino family. He told me of an incident that took place. Another cousin of his owed Alphonse Trucchio and his crew money. They were threatening his cousin, so Sal went with his cousin to a bar where Trucchio would be with a few guys in his crew. They wanted to go to work on Sal's cousin. Sal told me that he had a butcher knife up his sleeve and that he told Trucchio, if you think you guys are going to pound my cousin out, I'm going to start stabbing all of you. Needless to say, Trucchio and his crew thought better of touching Sal's cousin that day. For those who may not know, Trucchio was a Gambino captain at the time. And let me add, Sal is what I call extremely capable. He didn't just say he would start stabbing them. He absolutely would have done it. No question about it. Besides Sal being a stone cold tough guy, he was someone with a good heart. If he was your friend, he'd die with you. I got to know Sal's mother and sisters from the visiting room. He lost his father at a young age. When Sal was convicted at trial, his mother Lucia yelled out to the prosecutor that she would cut his throat. And I believe she would have if given the chance. He would always mimic his mother and say I could kill a guy in front of her, and she would say, Sale no do. Typical Italian mother. The son can do no wrong. One Thanksgiving, his mother brought up an Italian meal for us in her bra and heated the food up in popcorn bags in the visiting room's microwave. When I became a Lucchese member, besides Pete, who I mentioned earlier, the next person I put with me was Sal. As I mentioned, he originally was with the Colombos and briefly with the Gambinos until the day of the threats. And it wasn't the Gambinos who chased Sal. It was Sal who wanted no part of them. So I put him with me, which I'll get more into in a moment. It was through the Colombos that Sal was with Local 6A, which is a concrete laborers local. And over time, Sal became a foreman. The Colombos always had the local. I would remind Sal, especially when I would go see him on job sites in Manhattan, that we had to be careful because if someone snapped a picture of us together, he could get thrown out of the union. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. And anyone looking to show appreciation for videos like this or to help me continue making them, you could donate with the Super Thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. And by the way, I should be posting the new one later today. It can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. I began seeing Sal on a regular basis. One day, I even took him to the cigar lounge to meet Big John, because as I mentioned, it was my intentions to get Sal straightened out. I told Big John all about him, and of course John was happy to have another guy in his crew, especially a capable one. He was fine with just being an associate. It was me who was pushing the issue. He was the only person I ever wanted to propose. Anyway, I remember clearly, it was one afternoon, I went to go see Sal, and he was back with his ex-wife living on Richmond Avenue in Staten Island. His son and two daughters lived there as well. I went into the house, and his wife offered me something to drink. We were all sitting around the kitchen table. His two daughters came out, and I've known them since they were little kids in the visiting room. Now they were two young women. I watched as they interacted with their father, and seeing how truly happy he was to be with them. And it was at that moment I decided not to go forward with having Sal inducted. I couldn't do that to him and his kids. I myself was guilty of getting involved and should have put my own kids first. I never said anything to Sal. I just came around less and less. And eventually, we only spoke once in a while. Sal died this past May, and it broke my heart to hear the news. Rest in peace, my friend.